It's on? Are we recording?
We are recording.
Hi guys, today I'm gonna do an ASMR of eating this orange.
And that's gonna be the intro of the video.
Here we go.
All right, Layal, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Awesome. Thank you for doing this, by the way.
Thank you for doing this, by the way.
No, all right. So a little bit of background story leading up to this. So I don't know if you saw like the videos I did with Joey and Bobby, but when a couple of the guys they heard I was doing like podcasts, like every single one of them were like, "Dude, you need to get Layal on. You gotta get Layal
really?
on." Yes, they were.
Sweet.
So I'm like, at first I was like, "Who the heck is Layal?" And then because I'm like, all right, because I see all the guys, I'm like, okay, so that's Kai, that's Bobby, that's Ronnie, all right, that's C, all right. Which one's Layal? They're like, oh, that little girl. I'm like, wait, I'm like, oh. I'm like, okay, and then I started watching your videos. I'm like, oh, this girl is legit. She's a really good fighter.
Thank you.
And I watched her fights. And then I looked into your podcast, some other interviews that you did. And I was like, oh, you have a really interesting, fascinating story.
No, thanks.
A lot of stuff going on in your life.
A lot of stuff, a lot of different stuff. So I did an interview once, and then after everyone was like, "Dude, we need to work on our interview skills. These are so bad." And now I'm just like, all right, freeze, look at the interviewer, answer the damn questions, you know.
I mean, I don't know which ones they watched, but I watched the one with like 2 gloves and a dub. That one was really good.
Yeah, they were cool. It was like a nice conversation, more like than an interview, I think. But no, the one that people hated was when I had just fought, and they came up to me like right after the fight, and I was just like, it was good. I just wanted to punch more.
I mean, that's the worst time to do an interview with someone after they just took 3 rounds of beatings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I continue eating?
You can continue eating. Gotcha.
Okay.
I got more oranges if you need them.
Probably will. But
Perfect.
thank you. Okay.
All right. So just a little bit up. So I wanted to start with like a little bit of background about you. You started fighting. And let me know if I get anything incorrect. So you started,
I'll let you know.
All right. just reach across the table and just like smack me like you got that wrong.
Exactly.
All right. Please don't. All right. So you started training when you were 16, right?
Yeah. 15.
15.
Yep.
All right. You tried to get into MMA first, but your mom was like, hell no, because she didn't like the grappling aspect. Understandably so.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess like when you're a parent and you don't understand like fighting arts, it looks weird.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't work out, but yeah, I don't know. So she said no. That's the point.
But you've done grappling since then, right?
I have here and there. Nothing serious. I'm looking to get into it now. Because I bought a gi, and I'm like, I need to use this gi. Like, it's a cool gi. And I feel like grappling can help you with your clinch a lot. So I haven't done it like consistently ever, but I'd like to.
Okay. Are you planning on getting back into MMA?
Oh, hell no.
Oh, really?
Hell no, never. No. That's not me.
Just not your thing?
Well, to be honest, I feel like, you'd have to take some, it would probably take me another like 2 to 3 years to be competent in jiu-jitsu enough to do it, and grappling to do it. And if not, then I could start, but it's like, all right, I'd take a couple amateur fights, a couple jiu-jitsu competitions probably to build up to that, and then what? Like, then I go pro, like, and then I just feel like it's a lot of risk for a little reward for me. Like, I'm an engineer, I really don't need to do that for a job, so it's not something, I'd rather just focus on Muay Thai, and even though the pay is super low, I would rather just do something I really enjoy than chase like what I perceive to be not as much.
You're not doing Muay Thai for the money? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. What kind of person am I?
Right?
No, yeah, no, I mean, it's not something that I think is interesting to me anymore. And I think in MMA, you kind of have to be the more aggressive dog at a lot of times. And that's cool. That's very helpful as well in Muay Thai, but that's not my strength. And
what is your strength?
That's a good question. I think it's been, I think I have a lot of power in my punches at the lower weights, maybe not at the higher weights, probably don't notice that, but at lower weights I can punch pretty hard. And I mean, I've worked a lot on improving my hands, but I think overall, I don't know, it's a really great question. I think I've thought about that, but I don't think I ever arrived to a conclusion. I like to have great form and technique, but it doesn't always show in a lot of my fights, I think. At least that's how I look at it. But I don't know.
I mean, it's always the case, like, when you're in the gym, when you're sparring, when you're in class, when you're doing the drills, you look good, you look amazing, you look phenomenal. And then as soon as that first punch comes inside of a ring, all those lights and everyone's just screaming at you, all of that just goes right out the window.
Yeah, I feel like no matter how, at least for me, and like a lot of other fighters I know, no matter how good you are in the gym and on pads, like technically when you're in the ring, it's just so fast and you have to just sometimes abandon form. Like if I'm trying so hard to look at my form, I might not be fighting. If I'm just fighting, my form's gonna maybe dip a little bit. I'm okay with that, but it would be cool to like, I'm still building up to get to that perfect, not perfect, but that better like marriage of the two.
And how many fights have you had?
It's a good question again. So I forget.
Because I looked on Sherdog, it said 17-7, but you, but you've told,
Sorry.
just before these, we turned the cameras on, you told me that was actually wrong. It's actually more.
Yeah. So at the time, I don't know about Sherdog, but I did I did fill out a profile for Awakening Female Fighters. That's probably where they got the info from. At the time, I was probably like 17-7, but now. I have somewhere around 42, 43 fights, I think, maybe 44, but that's including boxing as well.
Oh, you do boxing?
I've had 6 boxing fights.
I did not know that. Oh, sweet.
Well.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
So you do both. Is there obvious question would be, is there a crossover and?
What do you mean?
Between well, actually the question would be, I'm assuming you did boxing after you did Muay Thai, right?
Yeah, so I started Muay Thai, then I took like a year to do boxing, and then I came back and did Muay Thai, then I took some time to do boxing, and I tried to do both at the same time. But fighting competitively is a lot about who is training you at the time, because I personally wouldn't feel very comfortable going into a fight without a dedicated trainer with me. So I don't usually get to do boxing and Muay Thai at the same time. I have before, and it's fine. But it's also a little difficult because the boxing stance is different.
So different.
Yeah, so when I go
way more bladed.
Yeah, when I go back to Muay Thai, you see that bladed look, and it's and it's hard to kick from. But I can it takes me a few weeks to correct it. So I try to focus on one at a time. But I would still do boxing. It's just that like I said, it depends on who's training you at the time. And in boxing, it's a little bit more finicky, I think, as a female fighter to find a coach. Even as a male fighter, I'm sure, to find a coach that can take you where you want to go.
Why is that?
Well, for females, it's because, man, either they want to sleep with you or they think, like a lot of promoters will be like, oh, you're so good, you're ready for pro, like you need to go pro, but they really don't care about you. They just want the numbers, they just want the look. And I'm like I've had promoters telling me like, you're ready for pro, I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, no the fuck I'm not. Like as a boxer, no the fuck I'm not. Like why are you telling me that? And I know it's because they want me on the card so that I can boost their sales probably, but it's like I'm not just and coaches like as far as boxing goes, it's like not like class style. It's not like there's a coach at this gym and you're gonna go see him every day and he's gonna see that you want to be there. There's a coach at this gym, but he's only working with like 2 people that he really wants to work with, and he goes to the gym whenever they can go to the gym, and he's only training them. And if he sees you, he might notice you. But like also as a female fighter, not all coaches really care enough to train a female fighter because we're not big ticket items like some of the men. At least now, hopefully soon we will be. Some of us are. Like I know some female fighters who are big names, but back to the point, like it's hard for, I guess, to find a consistent boxing coach in general, and then as a female, it's harder.
No, I've actually talked to Bobby about this. It's just about like the money and the politics that are in the boxing world.
That too.
And because everyone's trying to become the next Floyd Mayweather, the next Canelo Alvarez, the next Luis Garcia.
Yeah, and I think even if you're a great, let's say you're a great boxer like Bobby, he's great form for boxing as a male fighter. He could easily find a coach, but it's about who his coach knows to get him a fight. And then they want to build his record up to make him look like a Floyd Mayweather, which he's great. So it would be not that hard, but they're not going to give him a bunch of like amazing title shots. It's going to be like you're going to be fighting scrubs a lot of the time. It's a lot of politics. It's a lot of show. It's like almost like WWE sometimes.
Yeah. They're padding his record.
Oh, they do that a lot.
Yeah.
That kind of also disillusioned me from boxing in general because like not all promotions do this, but in Muay Thai it's more like we're going to find you a good match, at least in the US. We're going to find you a good match and we're going to see who wins. But in boxing it's like, well, we want to make him 10-0, so let's just find someone from Colombia who hasn't trained in 6 months to come fight this guy and lose. mind you, if he wins, we're never going to call him back ever again. We're never going to fucking call this Colombian guy back again because he's supposed to lose. So that happens, and it kind of was like, ugh, I don't want to be a part of that.
That makes me feel really disgusting just hearing that.
Yeah. I mean, that's not just like the Colombian thing. Like, they also hire people from the U.S. that are just not on the same level.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks.
I think the worst part about that is just like everyone is, because you imagine like a lot of people get into boxing because they want to get good at it, they want to get good at the sport, and they want to prove themselves, and then just the politics get in the way, and it just ruins the entire experience.
Yeah, well, I think at the amateur level, there's like less of that padding. There can be less of that padding. I see a lot of really great competitive fights happening at amateur level, but it's a completely different style than pro. So, like, not with Muay Thai. With Muay Thai, it's pretty much the same style, it's just that people get more refined. But with amateur boxing, you know, you're scoring points and you're moving and you're running away, or you're dancing around the ring. But in pro, you're trying to like kill the guy, right?
Yeah.
So I think like if you look at, and there are politics in amateur boxing too, but I feel like it's a little bit less shitty than pro.
And there's politics everywhere you go.
Yeah, there are for sure. But I don't know. Every Muay Thai fight I've seen, well, not every single one, but I've only had one Muay Thai fight where I felt like the decision was ridiculous, and it was a draw, and I was just like, this is not justified. But I mean, every fight that I've lost, I felt like, all right, it could have gone either way, or I definitely lost. You know, so with Muay Thai, I feel like it's a little bit less politicky, unless you go to certain states and it's like, you got to knock that fighter out to win. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
But.
So have you? So has boxing helped your Muay Thai at all? Have you?
A lot, because before I did boxing, I was shit. I think because I took a year just to focus on boxing, right? And so my hands were really bad. So when I went to boxing, it's only hands and head movement. And when you bring that into boxing, into Muay Thai, in the U.S., everyone punches. Like, you have to outpunch someone a lot of times. Like, everyone has good hands here, or better hands. Like in Thailand, you don't need to punch the girl a single time. If you do, it's good, but you don't need to. Yeah. At least for female fighters, it's not as essential to be a good boxer. And a lot of Thai fighters now, are starting to incorporate boxing because they see how necessary it is when they're fighting like Westerners. But they didn't do that before. And their boxing is still not up to par. Like, a lot of Thai boxers, they have one mode and it's forward, but like a lot of
They just march forward and absorb shots.
Yeah, and it's about like who can outbang the other guy. But I mean, like, Western boxing is about who can outthink the other guy a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's really been a help. And also, I took that time to just like relax and get away from fighting, because I think I fought like 8 months into boxing. So I just was like training to learn.
That's really fast.
Well, that's a long time to not fight for me, because at the time I was fighting every month or every other month. But I took some time to just like learn and just enjoy and just get my weight down to where it needed to be and stuff like that, and change my lifestyle up. So it was nice.
Speaking of the weight cut, do you cut weight?
I cut a little bit of weight, yeah.
Yeah, how much?
It just depends. So I prefer to fight at like 108. Well, I used to prefer to fight at 108, but because I was weighing like 114, 115. So that's like 6 or 7 pounds, but wait, no, that's like 7 or 8 pounds. But I don't do like crazy crash diets. I just walk at 114, 115 all the time.
Okay. So like, what's your perspective on like the weight cutting controversy? Because a lot of people say that like it helps fighters. Some people say that it's really bad, and the science shows that it's really bad for your liver, like over the course of weight cutting 20 years. And people just like, when they cut like 40 pounds at a time, and it's crazy. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think that when you cut excessively, it can be very dangerous, and a lot of times it's not worth it. I think if you just, like, for me, everyone has their own flow, but for me personally, I just prefer to get my weight to a stable size that's sustainable, stable size that I can keep up. And then from there, if it's just 6 pounds, which is a bigger percentage of my weight for like, you know, out of 115, it's like, what, 7%?
That's huge.
Which is big, but it's like, I'm not doing it all like in a sauna. I'm like, I just feel like a lot of people can take it to excess, and that's the point where I'm like, it's like diminishing returns. Like, okay, so you lose so much weight, but then in the fight, how are you going to perform? And then after the fight, you're gonna blow back up. You're gonna get huge again, and not huge, but you're gonna like gain all of it back and just overeat. It's like a very disordered eating pattern, and it's like honestly, it's like it's like mentally ill. Like it can look sick.
Yeah, no, because I've seen some guys where they like they walk at like 190, but they fight at like 150, and I'm like, how?
No, that's insane. I feel like a lot of people are, and like even like females. I don't know if it's more so with females, but with females, because I maybe talk to more female fighters about this. It's like, oh my gosh, I love food. Like I'm like, you don't have to throw away good foods. Like on the weekend, I'll eat an orange. I'll eat a burger. I don't like burgers that much, but I'll dabble in ice cream on the weekends. You know, but I'm able to keep my weight at all times of the year for the past like 5 years. I've been able to keep it at what it needs to be.
So you're more like a disciplined regimen of maintaining weight throughout the year so that the cut isn't as hard then. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah, but it doesn't feel disciplined because I still like on the weekends maybe eat a couple things that I would want to eat if it weren't if it weren't a diet, so I don't feel deprived.
So it's more just like a lifestyle to you then at that point.
Yeah.
So it's not discipline, it's just, this is how I live, this is how Layal lives.
And like, I enjoy looking in the mirror and seeing a certain shape. Like I like that, and I'm aware that my brain lies to me a lot of the times. Like if I didn't train that day and I ate ice cream, I'll see it in the mirror, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're fat. And I'm like, nah dude, it's just your brain, just chill. I like looking lean, I like feeling lean, but I eat like 2,000 calories a day, well I try to, because this is also another point that I was gonna get to, is that after I fight sometimes, if I don't have a direct fight lined up, which is happening now, so after my tournament, I don't have anything right now, so I'm not training as much as I usually do, so I'm not eating as much as I usually do, so my weight is dropping more. So I actually have trouble keeping my weight where it needs to be, but right now I'm at like 112, so as far as, I don't know if I would fight at 108, maybe I'd fight at 106 or 107 now, because I'm lower, and I'm staying lower, and I'm like, all right, well I'm trying to eat more, but it's not, maybe when I get into camp, it'll pick up again, I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you just don't have any fights, that's because you're moving soon and you're just preparing for that, or?
Yeah, I'm just, how did you know that?
Oh, you told me last week.
Okay, good. I'm just like, because we're told you.
So what I did was I hired some Russian people to hack into your emails.
Yeah, perfect, yeah. Oh, it's just spitting everywhere. But yeah, so it's with the move. It's also with...
Let me know if you want that cut out, by the way.
Oh, the move?
Just personal stuff.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
It's with that, and it's also that... I just, there's no opportunities hitting me at a right time, because, okay, they're like, all right, what about May 29th? I'm like, well, that's the move. I'm not going to be here, so we got to figure something out. May 13th, I'm like, well, that's literally the day I have to pack all my stuff to send it, you know? So I'm thinking like, but I mean, I would arrange the things if they gave me a direct date, but it's like sometimes when you put your name out to a promoter, they don't get back to you for like 2 weeks, or the opponent doesn't get back to them. It's like a really difficult thing to get a fight in general. So with this added, I don't know, and I don't know, like, I would do TBA. I would be like, yeah, I wanted to do TBA super bad, but then I was like, well, I don't know where I'm gonna be. I don't want to just show up at another gym and be like, hey, train me. I'm a superstar. Like I don't want to be like that. I want to be like, let me go to a gym, like, be a student, 100% full student, and just like, when you think I'm ready to fight for your gym, I'll fight, you know. So I don't want to be like demanding and like, you have to train me now, because I used to, like, I think I did that once. It was in boxing.
How'd that work out?
Well, the gym I went to was kind of shitty in general. They didn't want to train women at all. He told me, like, the coach was like, I don't like to train women. I'm not going to wrap your hands. I'm not going to do this because you're a girl and I don't need drama. And I'm just like, bro, I didn't ask for anything except to fight. And I kept telling him, like, I'm a fighter. And at the time I was a little bit like I feel like I could have gone in there with a little less of like ego, because when he would say stuff like that, I would feel super offended. Like, and he was a tough talker anyway, so I didn't like the way he talked to me, but because I'm sensitive. But like, yeah. So besides that, I think I want to try going into this, and I've done this before. It's like when I first went into boxing, I didn't have any expectations because I didn't have a coach. I just showed up at the gym every day, and finally someone liked me enough to train me. And probably that's what's going to happen at this gym. I'm just going to, well, actually, there's a couple girls at this gym that I was supposed to fight. One of them, I don't want to get too specific, but she pulled out. I've cleaned up her messes like a couple times, but she's a great fighter, I'm sure, and it'll be cool to like, I'm sure once I get in there and like spar with her, the coach will see like, okay, I want to put her in, you know, something like that. So.
Okay. Do you experience a lot of like discrimination against females in the fighting world?
Not at Tampa Muay Thai. It's very, well, I mean, I get yelled at a lot more than the boys from Dato, but besides that.
He would.
Yeah.
But he does it out of kindness of his heart.
It's better now. I feel like there were female fighters there before I was there, right? So, because I've only been there for 10 years now, almost 10 years. So he he used to be worse to the girls, not at a mean way, just because, you know, as a boxing coach, as a, like, you know, 45-year-old boxing coach from Europe, you don't necessarily see a lot of that, so you don't understand how to work with females, or that females might want to fight at all. So, or they might want to spar with the boys, and they might be okay with that, you know, so now he's better. But he does it more jokingly now, I think. But he definitely yells at me, not jokingly. Like, if I mess with Eddie, I'm the one that gets push-ups. If Eddie messes with me, I'm the one that gets push-ups. It's like, all right, Eddie. All right, Dato, this is it.
Is it because he's trying to push you harder because you're female,
No,
or?
I think he just always sees me as the instigator, which is fine. I'm not upset by it. And like, I know that like a couple of other females he treats them a little harder, but also softer in some ways. But then again, I have like the relationship between a coach and a fighter is like specific for every single person and every single coach, so I can't speak for how he acts in general. But back to your question, discrimination in the fight world for women, a lot. Because if you think about it, most top level female fighters, I don't want to I have a fixed mindset, but the truth is like a lot of top level female fighters are either married to their coaches are their fathers or uncles or something like that. Like name me a big name and I'll tell you, like, yeah, her coach is her dad. Yeah, her coach is her father or her husband.
Mena Nunez.
I don't know anything about her, so she's cool.
She's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, but okay, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, name me a female Muay Thai fighter, okay? Because I can't talk about MMA fighters.
Okay. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's her dad.
Okay. the one with the boxing gloves. All right. We'll go from We'll go for TMT then.
TMT fighters?
Yes.
Oh well, there are no female fighters except Jill.
Yeah.
And me, and no, me and Jill, our dads and husbands are not Muay Thai coaches, so.
This theory's falling apart.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like the biggest names, the girls who have been like Iman Barlow, her father's her trainer. Clarissa Shields, I'm pretty sure her uncle was her trainer. Her dad brought her to the gym as a child. It's people that have been training a long time. There's like this, what's her name? She's a really great boxer. She's from like Amsterdam or something, or Holland. Her dad's her trainer. It's hard as a female fighter to find that perfect one-on-one coaching relationship. Because I feel like I say this a lot. But you know what? No one talks about this. So when I mention it to another female fighter, or because like I've talked to female wrestlers and they're like, dude, like that makes so much sense. It happens all the time in the wrestling world. Where like, you know, you'll get with a coach and he's like, oh, well, can we go to lunch later? Oh, well, how do you feel about doing this later? And it's just like, no, bro, I'm going to see you in the gym and I'm going to get the fuck out of here. Like, what? Like, it's not gonna be any other way. But it happens a lot, I think. So that's about as much discrimination. Besides, like, there are fewer female fighters, so there's going to be fewer female fights.
Yeah, it's like I forgot the ratio. I actually ran the numbers once because I'm a nerd. On average, for about every one female fighter, there's about 27 male fighters.
Yeah, that's tough. Ouch, it really hurts me to hear that. But yeah. I buy it. It's true. Yeah.
And it makes it difficult because when you're trying to get fights as guys, it's hard to get fights with guys your size and everything. Especially
if you're on the lower or higher end of the spectrum.
Yeah,
it's really hard. Yeah.
So I imagine as a female, that's even tougher. So
yeah.
And so what I've read is like some females, like they'll take a fight against someone that they know is like 10 leagues above them in skill level just to get a fight, or like they'll fight someone like 20 pounds heavier than them just to get a fight because they're just that desperate to get a fight.
Yeah, I used to be like that for sure. Well, I've had coaches put me in for fights with girls that were like I'm eating a burger and walking on the scale and this girl's cutting weight to get to this weight and to meet me. And it was not smart. I would never advise that. I would never do that. I'd be like, because, you know, Eddie's like, oh, I want to fight. Dato keeps telling me there's no fight. And I don't know if you just want, I'm like, Dato is waiting for a good fight for you. You don't have to be desperate to fight because it's going to happen. And when it happens, you'll be prepared. I don't feel desperate at all to take fights. I'm like, if you don't meet me, because like I've had girls like message me like, oh, hey, fight me. And I'm like, all right, what weight do you fight at? 117. I'm like, okay, come to 108. I'll fight you at 108. That's fine. We can do that. But no one, and they're like, my gosh, how are you so light? And I'm just like, I'm little, I'm just a little person. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, by being 5 feet tall. I don't know how tall you are.
I'm 5'3".
Okay.
But yeah, like, and it's kind of like, I'm not desperate to fight, like, cause I mean, I've done it a few times. I'm like, I'll get a fight. When I get a fight, I'll get a fight. I know, I do feel like a little bit, like, not that I've ever felt pressured from sponsors, but I'm like, I want to make their sponsorship worth it, so I want to take fights. That's one thing. But besides that, I would never be like, oh, I'm going to take a fight at 115 or 118. Like, no, I've trained. I always train. I don't care if I've trained this hard and there's no fight, because I've had girls pull out, and I'm just like, and then the promoter will try to pass me on to a 115 fighter, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to die just because you want to fight. I'm sorry. You know, it's not my problem. I feel bad to say that, but I feel like as a fighter, especially a female fighter, you have to be really protective of yourself, because no one cares about you in the sport except for maybe your coach, maybe your partner and your parents, but no one else really cares about you. Maybe your closest training friends, but that's it. I think I've fought a couple girls who were pretty desperate to fight, so despite me having so many more fights than them and being heavier, they'll take the fight, and I'm just like, oh, you think you can kick my ass? Well, let's see about that. Like, I kind of like that sometimes, but I'm like, I don't think their coaches even tell them, because I don't think their coaches want them to know.
Okay, you're about to fight a veteran.
Yeah, I don't think they want them to know. I think they just like
it
keep it a secret.
Out.
It probably would, because when I fought one of my last opponents from, I think it was in January, she was like, well, how many fights do you have? And I was like, because we were talking after the what's it called, fight? What were we doing? Dancing.
I thought you guys were just exchanging engineering notes.
Yeah, we were just like, hey, yeah, no. So I told her, and she was like, whoa, you have that many fights? What the heck? And I was just like, yeah, dude, it's fine. But I also don't really like respect. Like, I'm not gonna like hear someone say that, oh, I have 100 fights, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. Like, I don't care, like, quality over quantity all day. Like, there are fighters who are like, oh, I'm not gonna say any names, but I have 250 fights, and like, I'm the best. And I'm just like, quality over quantity, bro. You haven't fought any big names. Like, who the fuck have you fought? Who have you fought? Show me the list. Maybe we'll name like 10 top level fighters on that list, but besides that, it's like, I'd rather take good fights than more fights, you know? I'd rather make sure the fight matches what I'm looking for. Like, I feel like, at least from the fighters that I've seen, because I don't know all the fighters, or I don't know all the plans, like, in a lot of sports, people will arrange their competition selectively to set them up for success. But in fighting, it's sometimes like, I'll fight whoever, whenever, I don't care. And I'm just like, that's good for you, but I'm gonna set myself up for success.
Bring me everybody, I smash everybody.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, man. And that works for some fighters. That's just their game plan, I guess. But I feel like it pays to be a little more selective. That's just it.
So what is it you're looking for when you're setting up fights then?
I have to match my weight. That's it. Because I'm, like I said, I'm not gonna fight someone at 115 or even 112 if it's a day before weigh-in. Because it just depends. Like, if it's a fighter that I like, I'm comfortable with, that I know walks low, because like I fought girls at 115, but I know she walks at 115. I know her, you know, so I'll fight her. That's no big deal. But if it's like some unknown from like I don't know, some unknown person who's like, oh, I'll fight you at 115. No, fuck off. Like, they have to match my weight. Experience I don't care about. It's just, oh yeah, and then the location of the fight, you know, the promotion. If they can't help me with any of the costs, then it's like, I can't keep going broke for this. Like, I've paid a lot of money into the sport, you know? And so it's like...
airplane tickets, hotels...
Dude, yeah. Well, I've been pretty...
private coaches.
Yeah, it all adds up. And it's like, I get that I'm not pro, but if you can help, that would be great. And if not, then someone else probably will, you know? And I'm not like, I need to fight. Like, oh God, I just gotta go. Like, I don't care. I'll just
hey, coach, got any more of them fights?
yeah. I like... all right, well, if there's not a fight this month, then maybe there will be a fight in the next 2 months. Maybe there will be a fight in the next 6. I'm doing enough things where I'm like, I train all day, every day. Anyways, not all day, not literally. I take breaks, but I train like pretty consistently, so it's not like I need to like rev back up the engines and stuff like that, you know? So that's what I look for. To answer your question, I'm talking way too much.
No, this is all golden stuff.
Okay, good. I forget that like I'm on camera, so I can't like be weird. Like, chill, bro. Calm down.
No, be
okay.
you.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right. So do you feel like you're able to be more selective with your fights because of your history and you have a record?
I think so, because at the beginning of your career, there's like this scarcity. I mean, Okay, so that's kind of a little bit probably inaccurate because when I started, I was 18, and I always felt like at that time I don't have time to wait. Like I don't have any time to wait. I need to get as many fights as I can. I need to do whatever I can to fight. I would take whatever fights I could. I think when you first start, you feel like a scarcity mindset, like there's not enough. There can never be enough fights. But as you kind of level up and grow, some people still, after having 40, 50, 60 fights, they still want to get more fights or like just blindly get a bunch of fights. But for me, it's been like, well, I'd rather focus on improving, and then when I fight, I fight, But at the beginning, it was definitely more like, I need more fights. Put me in, coach. I'll fight twice. I literally used to fight like every other week in Thailand. Like, oh, I fight this week. Oh, I'll fight next week too. Yeah, whatever. And like I've almost lost fights because my shins would be so beat up that I'd be like, I need to take a seat. I'm gonna cry if she hits my shin again. I can't check any more kicks. I need to clinch. Like there have been some, it comes at a cost.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't train nearly as hard as that, but my shins I actually found them bleeding the other day.
Yeah.
Because I checked the crap out of one of Steven's kicks, and like my legs started vibrating.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was like, Doom.
Were you wearing shoes?
No.
Shin guards?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because we were just doing a drill, and it was I kick, and then he kicked right back. But on his kick, I check it and I go, Doom, and I'm like, oh, and then I get to my car, I'm like, oh. There was a lot of blood running down my leg. I'll show you later if you're curious.
But I kind of feel like if it is bleeding, that's probably better than if it's just a bubble, because the bubbles never go away.
No.
But the bleeding maybe doesn't, like it prevents some of like the fluid just building up,
Yeah, I mean, I usually pop the bubbles anyway.
Oh, that's horrible. But not that you popped them, that you were bleeding. Like I'm so sorry to hear that. You probably need to invest in some shin guards, better shin guards. But
probably my shin guards are about 5 years old.
Oh
now,
gosh, yeah, no.
So they're bad.
And like. So even when I'm wearing shin guards with some of the guys, some of them just have like titanium baseball bat legs, shins. Kai, Jason, Ronnie.
Yes.
No, I don't want that. But yeah, so.
Awesome. So you trained in Thailand before?
I have trained in Thailand.
All right. Obvious question. What are the differences?
There are a lot of differences. In Thailand, I mean, as a foreign female, you go there and you're like the butt of every joke, like every day in training.
Not just foreign, just the foreign female.
Yeah, that's pretty hard because any female fighter who's trained in Thailand, like, I mean, I trained in like a more rural area, and like Jill had gone to that gym before I went. We didn't go together, but she went and kind of primed them to the idea of female fighters. But at the time I went, it was still kind of a laughingstock. So it was hard, and I was only allowed to train with like the little boys because, well, first of all, they were still better than me, but second of all,
well, they've been training since they were like born.
Yeah.
5 years old.
But it's like, well, that boy over there is a better size for me. He's like, no, you girl, you go. So it's tough because I definitely felt like, because when, it's kind of hard to say, like, I know I just said like you have to put away your ego, but as a female fighter, at least from my perspective, when I've gone into gyms and I felt like we don't want to play with you because you're a girl, I get really upset because of that sometimes. Like, it doesn't happen that much in the US, but in Thailand it would happen a lot. And I would just be training myself for months on end, just like hitting the bag. And like, you can pay a trainer to train with you, but he really doesn't, like, he's not invested, like, not all foreign trainers are going to be invested in you because they don't know when you're going to go back. They don't know how high you're going to go. Now there are fighters like, like big name fighters like Stamp,
Stamp
Alicia,
is amazing.
Janet, like there are big name female fighters. So now that they become like, oh, she's sponsored by Fairtech, she's a big deal now. Now it's kind of paving the way for female fighters to be taken seriously. Probably before that it was also happening a little bit, but at the time I went, it was like, eh.
Well, female fighters in Thailand is like a very recent development, like, right? Like in like the last 10 years or so?
I would say within the last 20 years.
Okay.
But like...
Versus like when they've been training for like 500 years.
Yeah, and then like...
Or longer.
Well, there's a lot of like, I guess in Thailand, it's like expected that, like, or it used to be when I was there, oh, well, for like Thai female fighters, oh, well, she's gonna have a baby and she's never gonna train again, whatever, and or when after she has the baby, she's not gonna be good anymore, so no one wants to work with females, or like I said, if they do, then it's a laughingstock. But now it's way better. Like in the last 5 years, it's really picked up so much. So
awesome.
But like you have to go to like a touristy area where they're used to seeing foreign females.
Chiang Mai.
But even then, it kind of feels disingenuous. Is that the right word to use? Because it's not like, I feel like, you guys are training me, but just because like you don't really, you're not invested in me growing as a fighter. You just want the money, and you're telling me I'm so good, but I know I'm not that good, bro. I'm
having a deja vu moment.
Really? Cool.
Yes.
We've been here before.
Yes. No, I meant like, because like this sounds very close to like what you were talking about earlier with the boxing, training females.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's the similar idea? Yeah,
kind of, because a lot of, like, these are a lot of, so like Western boxing in the U.S. is very, like, it's a very sexist sport. It's very male-dominated, and then in Thailand as well. And then Thai culture is still super male-dominated, so, but it's getting better, so. Mm-hmm. But at the time I went, it wasn't great. It was okay. It was better than it had been. Mm-hmm. So, just, like, super grateful for, like, fighters like, Jill or previous female fighters who, like, kind of primed the ties for me. And then maybe I helped prime the ties for some other females.
Gotcha. 5 years down the line, someone's going to be like, yo, Layla was a pioneer.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe if I had stayed longer, I would have, done more and gotten more accolades and whatever, but oh well.
It's a tough world.
Yeah, it is a tough world. It is. I had to come back, but I wanted to go back, then COVID hit. And everyone knows how that went, so, oh well.
Are you going to go back?
I would like to, but right now I'm getting a job. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. We'll see. I would love to go, but like when I travel, I don't like to go for a week. I would rather, and if you want to fight, you're not going to get great fights and just being there a week. No. They have to see you. You have to be there. So probably I would like to go for 6 months, a year again, but I just, I don't know, with the job thing and growing up and making income, I have to consider things. But it'd be cool now because now I got money, because when I went, I was broke. I was flat broke. I would live off of $500 a month, which is still good to live there.
That's good in Thailand.
It's really good, but I was stressed a lot of times because I didn't know, because at the beginning I had money and then I ran out. And I'm like, oh my God, is my mom going to send me money? Is my dad going to send me money? Help! Or am I going to make money from that fight because I need it? And one time I lost like 3 fights worth of earnings on a bus. I made so much, like it was not a lot of money. It was like 20,000 baht, which is like...
Divide that by 3.
I'm not good at math.
800.
It was like $800, bro. Mm-hmm. I lost it on a bus, and I was like, damn, I'm out of rent. Mom, help me. I'm so lost. And
did you get it back?
No, because I got the wallet back. They sent the wallet to police office, to the police station.
Of course.
But every single penny, even my money from like Myanmar and my money from like Canada and Sweden was taken out of there. I'm like, what are you going to do with that?
Does that work?
No, it doesn't.
They don't care about Burmese money in Thailand.
It's like less than $1 worth of money. I get it. These are nice shiny coins, but those are my shiny coins, and someone took them.
They probably thought they were. They probably didn't even recognize them and thought they were. Oh, hey, this is with this huge pile of cash. It's probably worth something.
So lame, yeah. But I understand. I mean, but at least they returned the wallet. But whatever.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. So one thing I hear about like fighters of from the U.S. and then fighting people in Thailand, like it's a very, very different mental approach towards fighting.
What do you mean?
Like for example, like if you watch like most Muay Thai fights, like the first round is boring because they're feeling each other out. Versus like when you watch fights in America, like everyone's trying to kill each other in the first round.
Yeah. So the American pace, and I don't know too much about the European pace, but I would like to say the Western pace is crazy different. As you can see, right? Thai pace is slow, and because when I came back from Thailand, I had like 20 fights, and only 5 of those were in the U.S. My first 5 fights, or maybe I had 25 fights when I came back. I don't remember, or 23 or 24. So I was like expecting that, okay, high level Muay Thai is going to be the same in America as it is in Thailand, and I can just start slow, and that's a lie. That's a bold lie, bro. You gotta pick it up in the U.S. You gotta like from 0 to 100, or it's like eat or be eaten here.
From round 1.
Yeah. It's just not the same style. It just didn't develop that way. I mean, I guess when you're doing, a fight a month or 2 fights a month, as some of the boys are doing over there, you kind of have to slow down, and you have to like, it's like more relying on wit than just like who's the better dog, like I've said before, for sure.
Because like down here we have like months in between fights.
Yeah, and it's a different mentality entirely. Like Americans, especially American women, or Western women, they're like tough as nails. Like they will die rather than give up that fight. I've only had like probably 3 opponents quit a fight for no reason in the US, but in Thailand, a lot more fighters will just quit and bitch out. But these bitches are tough over here, really tough mentally, like eat or be eaten. So
I feel like they have a much more on the line, much more on. They're trying to prove something.
Yeah, like I mean, here I feel like male and females, it's like a very intrinsically motivated. Like I'm gonna kill this person because I'm gonna kill this person. But over there, it's like I want to win $100, so I'm gonna try to kill this person. It doesn't happen.
I still got the $100.
Whatever. Like, but that's definitely. I'm sure as you climb the ranks, it changes. Like I fought girls who were great over there. That were so good, they were just like, well, one girl specifically, she's just like playing with me, like in the ring. I'm like getting frustrated because I'm like, why can't I hit her? Why is she hitting me? Why is she so good? And she's like just tapping me and like just playing around. And at the end, she like kissed me on the cheek and she's like, it's fine. I'm just like, babe, why? So I fought really good fighters over there, but like to the point where it's almost like funny now that you think about it. But
she could have wailed on me, but she didn't.
I know. And even after the fight, I was like, dang, she really could have knocked my head off. What a nice girl. She was just there to win her $150, you know? Like, go you, babe. But we don't have that here. No, they're going to kill you.
Yeah. It's interesting because I would just probably out of just hearing just that story and what I know of Thai culture and American culture is, I would probably say that, you can correct me, let me know if I'm wrong or if I missed by a mile.
You're wrong, no.
All right. Because when you have that many fights and everyone knows you have that many fights and these people have like records of like 200, 300, 400 fights, they're probably much more like conscious of the fact that like, hey, I don't want to hurt you because I know like you're making a living off of this.
Yeah.
Versus people over here like, oh, we're fighting, but you probably have a day job, so I can knock you the fuck out.
Yeah.
And you'll still get back to work.
I don't know if that's what it is. I think in like at least with Thai people, there's a little more, I think, respect that goes with it. Like my boyfriend at the time when I was there, he was like, after the fight, I'm like, why didn't you kill him? Like you're so much better than that guy. He's like, they told me not to, and I didn't want to because he's not that good. And I was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Like I guess that makes sense. But here, I think it's a pride thing. It's a much more prideful sport here. Mm-hmm. Much more. Like if the pride level over there is like this big, like America's like times 50,000.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. People there are way nicer.
Yeah, for sure. And in the fights, like if you're bizarrely better than your opponent, you don't need to kill him. You can just win on light points. Who cares? Like, I don't care. Do you care? I think we're fine. Yeah. I don't think but I for myself, I don't think I've ever been like, oh, I'm just gonna win on points. Not in a single fight. I always try my best to hurt the person.
You're one of those tough bitches trying to kill people.
I guess, but I've never been like bizarrely better than any of my opponents either. Like, what the fuck, you know? But like in sparring, like I was actually just thinking about this yesterday. It's funny because I sparred with this guy who is bigger than me, way bigger than me, and he's not usually at the gym because he goes to a different gym, I guess. And so like, man, he was cracking me in the head, and like he swept the crap out of me, and like he's like 6 foot. And I'm just like, why would you do that, bro? Why would you do that? It's not a skill question, it's a size question. I'm like, when I'm sparring with someone like, you know, Emmy, who's smaller than me, I'm like, I'm not gonna beat the crap out of you. Like, I'm sure you wanna go home in one piece. Like, why would I do this? You're smaller. It's just so dumb. So, I don't know where I got that conversation from, but if you have like a stark advantage, what's the point of just like hurting someone or just like putting them down like that? It's just so dumb.
In a fight or in sparring?
Both. Both, I think. I mean, not for me in a fight. I'm gonna just do my best to do my best. Mm-hmm. But if it's in, like, you can't like when you're fighting in the U.S., you can't afford to think like that in a fight in the U.S. You just can't because it's like eat or be eaten. You just can't. You never know what's gonna come at you in the U.S. So you have to just like, you know, ignore the person in front of you and just do whatever you can.
Yeah, U.S. fighters, the other person's trying to take your head off.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, so the thing is, I fought girls who have a lot less experience than me, just because, you know, I have a big record and that's how it is, and they take the fight. So I just have to say, well, they took the fight and this is how it's going to be. I know they're going to come at me 100%, so I have to match it. You know, who would I be if I just like, I'm just going to play with you and just like let you do your thing? I mean, to be honest, I don't think I'm leagues better than those girls. It's just that we both got to do our best, you know, in any case.
Gotcha.
This is a great view.
Oh, I love this view.
It's just like, I mean, I wouldn't do much work if I had this view, but it's nice.
I I wish like the light wasn't so strong because like I try to capture the background on the cameras.
Right.
But yeah, but like
It's too harsh.
yeah, no, like the first one I ever filmed here, like I had the shades all the way up, and it was just like watching two shadows talk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were unlocked character. No, we were still locked characters.
Or like in heaven or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like those confessional scenes where it's like the father is like.
Tell me, young child, confess your sins.
Yeah, just forgive me, Father. I don't know.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. What'd you do? I knocked someone the fuck out.
I don't know if that's a sin. Like, is it that bad? I feel like they signed up for it. I was just thinking about this with someone else the other day. I was like, well, she signed up for it. Oh yeah, I was talking about this with a friend. There's a fighter we were talking about that, like, is not, like, everyone. Let me not. But if the person signed up for this fight, then they signed up for this fight. I feel like we're the same weight, we're similar experience level, or we're similar skill level. Your coach and my coach agreed to this fight. I don't think it's bad. It's not even violence to me. That's not violence, Violence is like an abuse of power, but me and you are equal, right? Mm-hmm. It's just sport.
No. We signed a piece of paper that says that we're going to wail on each other for 3 to 5 rounds.
Yeah, we just punch each other for sport, man.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, when you really sit back and think about it, like, there's something wrong with us because we pay money to a gym to get our brains beat in 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
To 1, 2, 3 hours per day.
Yeah.
Like, that's not normal.
It's not.
We're psychopaths.
I feel like, but I think, everyone wants a sense of community. And if, as a kid, as a 15-year-old, if I wasn't getting it from the gym, I would be getting it from worse sources somewhere else. Or I would have been in dancing, or I would have tried to do something. Because, like, everyone needs a community.
100%.
For better or worse, So I feel like I'm paying for the community and paying for, like, the facility. And then, I pay my coach separately. Mm-hmm. But that's really what I'm going for. Because, like, at a boxing gym where it's not like a group setting, it's harder. It's so much harder. It's so lonely sometimes because it's like it's just you and your coach, and it's nice, and I love that. But I want to be on a team of people because, like, when I'm working on my own, I feel like my output is like way lower than what it would be if I'm working with people. Because, like, when I'm working at the gym on like kicks and stuff, I'm like, I need to be the best. I need to outkick all of these guys at all times. I need to kick harder and faster, and I'm sure, and sharper all the time. But when I'm on my own, I'm like thinking, trying to be like that, but there's no comparison, and it's kind of hard to like stay with the program because like my attention span is like a pea size. Okay, but with people around, it's like an earth size.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot to be said about training with groups of people because I'll be honest, if I was alone, if I had a bag at home, it'd probably get about like 5 minutes of activity a month.
Yeah, like I would never. I need to have like a workspace,
Yeah.
So like I don't mind paying for that workspace and the community that comes with it,
Huge.
Even if it's like getting my head bashed in. Well, I'm better now about being selective. Like I've just become, like, call me a diva, but I will not spar with someone who's going to bash my head in. I'm not interested.
No, like there's nothing diva. Yeah. That's being smart.
I'm like so selective about it. I mean, I've gotten some negative feedback about it, but I don't even care anymore. I'm just like, no. What are you going to do for me, bro? Like, what am I going to learn from that? No.
Like, even when I watch like Kai, who everyone holds as like the number 1 guy in the gym, like when I watch him spar against people, he's like leagues against most of the guys in the gym. Mm-hmm. Even he's not taking people's heads off. Like, he can.
Well, he does hit hard though, but I don't spar with him for that reason.
Like he hits hard, but but we all know like he can do way more damage if he wanted to.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it only seems like he's going hard against us because there's a skill disparity.
Yeah, I feel like if I were sparring with, because like when I'm selective, what I mean by that is like I'll pick people who are close to my size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't spar D.
No, I won't spar D or like any, like I would not. I've sparred Kai. I try not to because he's so much bigger. It's just like this is pointless for you and me. Mm-hmm. But like if I were in a room full of girls my size or guys my size, it's fine. We're good. We're having a good time. We can bang, because it's a size disparity with other people. It's like I said, it's like you have a huge advantage, and I can try. But I can't hit you, and you can hit, kick, and teep me all at once. Like
from like an extra 6 inches away.
Yeah, so it's pretty tough. I've been pretty fortunate though. I've never been like the super shorter fighter in any of my fights. But like I've been pretty much the same height. I think I fought like 2 short girls, but I've never had a problem with that. So that's good.
That's good.
I like that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I like it that way.
All right. So it's 2022, and I have to ask this question.
What?
Your perspective on trans fighters fighting female fighters.
That's such a funny question. Okay, let me wet my words before I get started. Well, I mean, I think it's the same as most female fighters' perspectives. Like, I respect trans women and trans men. Be who you want to be, but I just think it's a really slippery slope. And like, I've been punched by 11-year-old boys, and it's hard. I've been punched hard by 11-year-old boys, man. Some boxers, man, they are strong. It's just different, you know. I feel like once puberty hits, it just has like these irreparable changes you can't, or like not damages, it's not damaging, but it's just things that you can't change about a person's physique after they've developed. So it's like, everyone can do whatever they want. I personally wouldn't want to fight a trans fighter. And it's like, oh, well, then how would you know if they're trans? Like, that's so just like sexist or mean or whatever. And I'm just like, well, I mean, I gotta protect myself more than you need to see a fight, or more than I need to fight, or more than I need to give that person a fight. It's about me in there. It's about me, and it's about my opponent. And if my opponent, you know, has a advantage, what I perceive to be an advantage like that, I'm not gonna go for it. Like, I would love to, like, well, I wouldn't love to, but it would be cool to like have just like an ounce more of testosterone. I'm sure that some women naturally do produce more testosterone. That's a valid argument. But at the end of the day, we all have biological advantages, and there are some that don't need to be fucked with.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't do it.
Like my hands are naturally bigger, bone density, muscle density.
Yeah. I feel like, because I'm thinking about some of the guys in the gym that are my size, and it's like, I think I could fight them, but the only reason that I could fight them and do well is because I have more experience and I'm better than them. Mm-hmm. Not better than, that's rude to say, but like not so much better than them. I just have more experience and better technique. And so I think if it was like someone on my level who's like, that sounds so like rude and egotistical to say, but someone who's like more on my experience level, a male, it would be really hard to like be competitive. Because I remember there was a guy at my gym who we came up together at the same time in the gym, so we had the same level of experience. Well, first of all, he was skinnier than me, but he was always stronger than me, always. Like, he could lift more, he could do more, and I just couldn't. And it's kind of like, dang, like, I wish I had some of that. But I wouldn't do it.
So, like, what's going on in like the world of fighting where, like, because we had, a couple of years ago, we had Fallon Fox, where she, like, rocked the MMA world when she came out after breaking a woman's skull.
Yeah.
And then just last year, I forgot her name, but there was another female MMA fighter that came out as trans, and she like dominated.
Yeah, I don't follow the MMA world that closely, but I do know about Fallon Fox. I mean, like, she's famous, everyone does. I feel like, you know, but like that goes back to saying, like, if you have a very clear advantage, like there's Nong Rose, she fights men, I think, mostly, but she has fought women before. But when she does fight women, you can tell she's holding something back. Like, she's holding a lot back. I mean, you know, she dresses like a woman. She is a woman. She's a trans woman. I don't know if she has implants, but she like carries all the extra weight that a woman would carry, but there's still that masculine physique that formed over her years of growing up as a male. Mm-hmm. So now that she's a trans woman, when she fights women, I just really hope that the things I'm saying like aren't coming out as just like super insensitive and like mean, but she like holds back. You can obviously tell. So someone like Fallon Fox, who like, I just can't really fathom like I can't fathom like beating up on someone Emmy's size, just like killing her, or like someone smaller than me. I just don't think that's nice. I can outpoint them pretty easily. Mm-hmm. So why don't I just do that, you know? And if someone that size punches me, it's not with their hardest, it's not as hard as my hardest is. So I feel like, but I get that she's in MMA. Any fighter in MMA like has to be the top dog, but it's like you could have a little more, I guess, tact with fighting someone. I don't know. I'm not a trans woman, so I can't say what she would have felt, but
it's a slippery slope, like you said.
It is a slippery slope, because then where do you draw the line? Like, do you do extra testing? Like, what are we gonna do? I feel it's up to every promotion to make their rules.
And it's not like we have a lot of trans fighters signed up anyway, so.
Yeah, which I guess is cool, because we don't have to deal with the difficulties of what goes on with it, along with that. But I don't know. I mean, I respect people, but like I said, I need to respect myself more than I need to fight you. So, but I respect anyone who, if you want to be a trans fighter, like, I'll train with you. Mm-hmm. I'll train you. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I don't know. So I feel like it might sound super shitty, but it's like, and I don't know. I'm not a trans person, so I don't know if this is super rude to say, but if it's like, if you want to live as a trans woman, if you want to live as a woman, then do that. But why can't you just fight men, because like as fighters we all have to make huge sacrifices in our lives. So then why don't you just pause on the, you know, hormone therapy, whatever, and just pursue fighting and, you know, walk into the ring as a woman. Who cares? Like, do that. That would honestly be really cool to see. I mean, it's up to everyone individually, but it's like, then if you want to be a woman, but, you know, you were born male, then maybe focus on fighting if that's really what you really want to do. So that no one can argue that you were at a disadvantage or you're on an uneven playing field, you know? So I feel like that would be fair or something.
It's definitely a tough and complex situation.
Yeah, I don't want to be canceled, and I'm just a nice person, just trying to live my life. Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, like I said, I'm not a trans woman. I don't have any trans friends. I have like one trans friend, but they're not open or out, so I don't really know what I would say. But I wouldn't fight a person like that, I think.
Yeah. No.
Just like I wouldn't fight anyone who's been popped for using any type of PEDs. I wouldn't fight them. I'd be like, next, swerve. Sorry, once a cheater, always a cheater.
Are there a lot of PEDs in Muay Thai?
I suspect, but no one tests.
There's no testing.
I'm natural.
That hurts my brain.
Yeah, you can
to think about.
Especially because we just had like this huge competition with like top level athletes in the country, and not a single test was done.
And you know they're all trying to take every advantage they can.
They are, and everyone knew no tests would be done. And I mean, but even if you cycle things properly, you could probably get away with a test, with having a test. I can attest that I'm perfectly natural. I've never done anything. I probably will never do anything, but I suspect it happens. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, man, your jaw looking super strong. You look super strong today.
You put on how much weight in 2 weeks?
I like those deltoids. They are developed. But yeah, no, I don't know. I try not to, like, because there's nothing I can do. If there's no testing, then I can't control who I fight. I mean, I can control who I fight, but I can't control if they use or not. And I think, like, all right, so if you're using something that like causes you, like, what's that one drug? Like, I forgot that one. So anyways, if you're using something like causes you to build muscle, sure, whatever. I mean, muscle doesn't make fights. If you're using something like, I don't know, that causes you to have better red blood cell production, all right, well, I can't control that. If you're using something like causes your attention to be better or your brain to work faster, sure. I mean, but like a lot of these things don't necessarily make the fights, because I know fighters who have used, not personally, I know of them, and then they've lost. It's like, it doesn't mean you're going to win. It doesn't mean you're the best. It means you have a security blanket that might give you some advantages, but anything can happen in a fight.
It's crazy because Lance Armstrong, when he got busted, he actually never got caught using. You know, but what they did was they caught the 20 people around him. All 20 of them were using. So they said, well, if they're using, and you beat them, you know, we're gonna assume. They never actually got his blood samples. There was a huge like lawsuit that prevented that from happening. But
yeah,
and like what was found from that study was you have to go down about like 46 places to find someone who's not juicing of some sort.
Yeah, it's tough because I've talked about this with some friends and I've mentioned it, and it's like, well, everyone else is doing it, so then everyone else has to do it. I'm like, well, then there should be a commission or a promotion that directly says, we will not test, you can do whatever you want. You can be juiced out of your mind, I don't care. Like they don't do a single fucking test.
Oh, so it's crazy.
That's fine. They want to go there and do that, more power to them. But if it's like, there needs to be sanctions in play or promotions in place where, I said the wrong word, that was dumb. So there needs to be promotions where we are all going to be at the mutual understanding that no one here is using anything. We all need to be fair. We all need to attempt to be fair. So we all need to test. It's like, I get at the local level, you don't need to test. That's dumb. But then like at the national level, you should be testing. You should be doing something like, dumb. Like, so dumb. So dumb, bro. Because, I mean, you're going to tell me you're going to have 100 of the best fighters in the country fighting for one spot or for 10 spots.
With money on the line.
And no one's using, bruh.
See, about that.
All I can do is speak for myself, dude. I'm clean, and I hope that the people I fight are clean, too. I just hope. Or I don't want to say clean, because that's like, oh, well, are you dirty if you used, well, I guess if you're cheating, you're dirty, but I don't.
But it's not exactly cheating if it's not on the rule set.
It is. I think it is on the rule set.
Oh, okay.
I think it is on the rule set.
But it's not enforced.
I think so. I should check, but I'm pretty sure it is, because what I was reading about the competition, I'm not sure if I was looking into a different type of sport, but it was, they follow, I don't know if people say WADA, WADA guidelines. Yeah. You're not supposed to take anything on that banned list. I don't. I only take my proteins and my BCAAs, and that's it. And, my supplements for my micronutrients. I don't know about anyone else, but whatever.
Your vitamin D's, vitamin C's.
I take all
fish
those.
Oils.
Yeah, no, because I eat like a very specific set of meals, so I have to take a lot of I take a multivitamin. I don't take a fish oil, but I need to.
Oh, those are dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need that. I do need. I take vitamin D and some hair supplement because I'm trying to grow my hair out. But besides that, yeah.
I got a good solution for that.
I know. I would see, like, because when I shaved it, when I do have it short, I'm like, no, I want it long. Mm-hmm. I like the look. I like the look of it being long, but getting it there is hard. And then once it's long in training, it's like difficult. I've
done that before. I had hair actually that went down to here, and it took 3.5 years of just never cutting my hair.
Yeah.
It got annoying.
Yeah.
It looked cool, got a lot of attention, but I was like, okay, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
I don't know how females deal with it.
That's actually pretty quick though.
Yeah. 3
years, because like I've been growing. Well, a lot of my hair fell out like a couple years ago.
It was like right there, like just barely touching.
Yeah, but that's your hair's straight, I assume.
Mm-hmm. It's like spaghetti.
Yeah, that's pretty fast growth though. But yeah, having hair is important to some people. So I take my supplements. That's all. That's
gotcha.
But yeah, I don't know, guys. Somebody, I bet. I don't know. I don't know anyone like that, but
Gotcha.
Whatever.
All right. So what's next for Layal Shafee? Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. I was wondering about that. I was like,
Yeah, no, you're good. What's next?
Yeah.
Live, life, smoke trees. No, I'm just kidding. I don't smoke anything at all. So I've got the move, and then I'm gonna be working, and I'm gonna still be training. And I think I'm just going to take a few months to get used to my new surroundings and get used to my new training partners and trainers and team and stuff like that. And then after that, hopefully fight, maybe within this year, I hope. I'm getting married in November. Yes. So that's next for me as well. But yeah, those are the only big life things that are happening. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Am I getting an invitation?
I don't know. I'll have to see. I don't know what. I don't know. Well, I don't know, because like I feel like we're like doing. So he's bringing in his family, and I'm bringing in my family, and then he's like, and we're like, we have like gym friends, but it's like I invited a lot of gym friends to my graduation party, and like a lot of them said they would come, and I spent a lot of money for those people, and then they didn't show. And it was very hurtful. And after that, I was like, people don't give a fuck. Like, people do not give a fuck about others. Like, most people don't give a fuck, unless they're, like, really good friends. So, I don't know. After having that party, I was just like, yeah, I don't know about big parties anymore, man. Like, my family cares about me. I'm sure his family cares about him. And I think, like, that's the extent. But
just keep it small.
Yeah, no, it is for sure, because, like, money, dude. These things are expensive.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I feel like the wedding industry knows that, like, oh, that guy's charging, we can charge this much too, because they will pay for it. People, like, I will pay for it. It sucks.
Yeah, people spend $100,000 on weddings, especially Chinese weddings.
Oh, God, it's so expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, I was asking Eddie.
Are you guys going to have a Chinese-style wedding?
No, not Chinese-style in the U.S., because my mom, she was actually kind of, like, a little bit weird about it. I was like, well, let's have this, like, Chinese symbol on our invitation. She's like, well, this is our American wedding, and I just want it to be, aren't we having a Taiwanese wedding later? And I was like, yeah. She's like, well, then let's just have this one be my wedding, like my American, our style wedding, our style. And I'm just like, okay, sure, Mom. And so we're gonna have the Taiwanese wedding as well. And I was like, Eddie, how much does that even cost? And he's like, probably like $30,000, maybe 40. I don't know. He's never thought about it. He's literally never asked.
Chinese weddings are expensive. My sister spent about $120,000 on hers. And it wasn't even her choice. It was because it was her husband's family. They're very traditional. And one thing that happens in Chinese style weddings is the guests, they give the red envelopes, right? And the red envelopes are like they're stuffed full of money. But But so and at the end of the wedding, there's like a huge ceremony of, hey, the Shafies the Shafies at table 7 donated $5,000. The Woos at table 4 donated $3,000. The Chans at table 9 donated $20. You know, and they
They'll do that?
Yeah, they read everything out. It's kind of like a prestige thing. I actually really hate it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like it as the person who's at the this is my wedding. Yeah, you know you're gonna get called out. $20.
Yeah, but remember, you have to. It's a huge ceremony, so it breaks even sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, like, I don't know if, because like what I've heard is Eddie's like, oh, it's just gonna be a big, I'm like, for sure, what? It's gonna be a big banquet. It's a big banquet style event.
Huge banquet.
I'm like,
10 courses.
But why would it be $100,000? That's my question. I mean, how many people you invite? You probably invite, because you invite a fuckload of people.
You invite a lot of people in the food, and like the amount of booze that gets consumed.
And you have to pay per.
Yeah, and the photographer and everything. And the dresses, because you have Chinese weddings. You have to wear like 4 or 5 dresses.
Heard, man. I was like, so what do we do at the celebration? And he's like, I don't know. You just, you stand in front and you may sing a song and you go change and you come back and then I'm like, Eddie, what are you talking about? So I looked it up and I saw that. Yeah, that's kind of scary.
So I don't know about Taiwanese style weddings.
It's similar.
Because
because they're like, I think Eddie's family is like Chinese descent,
Chinese
and a lot of Taiwanese people are Chinese descent. There's like indigenous people as well.
Yeah. So like the Formosans are like less traditional than the Chinese Taiwanese. The traditional people from Taiwan.
Oh, like native people?
Yes.
Oh God, I don't know anything about them.
The people that were there before the Chinese people, before Chiang Kai-shek came through.
Yeah.
Because he got kicked out by Mao Zedong.
Yeah.
So we'll go into that some other time.
Chinese history, don't know anything about that.
Chinese history is wild. If you want to see like a lot of like wars and crazy things going on.
I take an interest in like World War II history, so China's involvement in that I know a little bit about.
Huge.
Yeah, but besides that, no, I don't know anything about it. Actually, you know what? I'm more interested in like Japan's involvement, because like I haven't looked so much into China's involvement in World War II, but like Japan's involvement I looked into a lot, because like I'm really interested in like nuclear studies and like nuclear things, and you open that door and you just go down the rabbit hole of shit, bro. Yeah. So scary.
It is.
Moment of silence. No, I'm just kidding. Where's your juicy?
Oh yeah, no, I love
I'm gonna need a napkin after to wipe it off.
Yeah, we'll take care of that later. All right, perfect. So, all right, I think I'm gonna take us into the close.
Okay, I feel bad because I didn't ask you a single question.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
No one ever does.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm used to people not caring about me.
No.
No.
So what brought you into the gym?
What brought me into the gym? Actually, so I trained Muay Thai at a couple of other schools when I lived in DC.
Oh, okay, cool. Gotcha.
So I bounced around. So, and when I came down here, I actually trained at another gym at Gracie Tampa South. They have great jiu-jitsu, but jiu-jitsu is fun. I love it all. But my first love in martial arts is striking. So I'm like, all right, so their striking program it's good, but it's lacking a lot of basic fundamentals. Like, they train good fighters, don't get me wrong. Like, there's some killers at GTS. Bobby Quarantillo is one of them. Like, I will take everyone's head off if he could. But I'm like, all right. But I'm like, all right, I need another gym. And the reason I didn't sign up to TMT was because they didn't have a jiu-jitsu program.
You wanted it all in one package.
Yeah, I wanted it all, and then I didn't feel like paying for 2 gyms because that's expensive. And then when I checked their schedule one day, I'm like, oh, TMT has jiu-jitsu. So I was like, okay, no brainer. And then I walked in. I took an intro class with Anton. I actually didn't need to, because, anyways. And then I held the pads. He's like, well, you've trained before, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, okay. And then he just threw a roundhouse, and my whole body was like, oh.
Your whole body shook.
Like I felt the energy like go past the pads through my arms and like out the back of my ribs.
Yeah.
And at that moment I knew I liked this gym, because there's this one other gym I trained at in DC where they kind of babied you along the way, right? They treated you like 5 years, whether you're 5, 15, 25, 45. They put you on like a really like easy training regimen, and it wasn't until like you hit like in their case, like the blue belt or higher, do they turn the water on for you and they like, and that's when they really push you, right? I'm like, and I kind of didn't like that. I'm like, man, I'm here to get my brain speed in, you know. I'm I want something, I want to fight.
Yeah, you want something challenging.
You know, I want something challenging. I don't want to like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know,
Yeah.
which I get why they do it, you know, because it's a business. The more people they have running their earlier programs, you know, the more money they make. But at the same time, like they want to like not hurt people, you know.
Yeah,
so
because they will come back.
Yeah, they want them to come back first, you know. But I'm like, well, if I'm gonna go somewhere, I want to train to be a killer, you know. So when I came here and the instant like kicked the crap out of
you were
my
like,
head,
yes,
I was like,
do it again.
I was like, I'm in.
Harder.
Yeah,
I feel like back to your point about a lot of about the MMA gym is that I think when you're dealing with, because like a lot of MMA fighters, it seems, will just go like they'll just like cherry pick on like a couple things, but it's like no, to be a solid fighter in any discipline, you have to be well rounded, but that means you have to do a few years of training with this. If you maybe mixing it at the same time, but I mean I'm no MMA fighter, but in my head it's like I don't think I would be successful if I was just doing 2 hours of jiu-jitsu today, then 2 hours of Muay Thai tomorrow, then 2 hours of wrestling the next day. Like I would not be able to improve like marginally, you know, maybe marginally, but not like.
What I found is you'll get better, but the thing is, MMA is its own separate sport altogether. People think it's like, oh, you do Muay Thai and you mix it with jiu-jitsu. You're an MMA fan. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. MMA has a very specific rule set that's different from the Muay Thai rule set. That's different from the jiu-jitsu rule set, and even like ONE FC has a different rule set than UFC. People don't realize that.
MMA's evolved into a specific style now.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, fighters will have their own style within that too. But it's like I notice a lot of programs watching from the outside. I'm like, this MMA fighter has the worst striking I've seen in my life. Like I would knock their head off.
But they're a champion.
No, not champions, but like at the local level, or like, because I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm gonna beat up Rose Namajunas. She has great striking. At least at our level, I find that we have good striking at the female fighters at my weight. But it's like some of these people like at the local level before they hit like pro, and sometimes they'll just go pro. It's bizarre, but it's like, how are they training you to do that? Like, who told you this is good?
Yeah.
Who told you this is good, and I need to slap them. It's just like, especially with female fighters, like there are people like blowing smoke up your ass just to get you in the ring, and it's like, I feel like a lot of times in MMA especially,
they don't use the jab,
or they're
not measuring distance.
Yeah, or they don't this female fighter is clearly not ready to take a fight, or clearly not ready for this opponent, and they just throw her in. It's fine, just fucking throw her in. Like, you were a jerk. You were a jerk as a coach if you do that, or a promoter if you do that. Gotcha. But it happens. But yeah, so I'm glad you found your way over to the gym.
Oh no, I love this gym. It's the best gym I ever trained at, hands down.
Sorry, I wanted to do
I'm like, what is she doing?
Thanks for watching the tutorial. Wait, it's not a tutorial, the interview. Sorry.
All right. So yeah. Again, now I'll take us to the end.
Okay. I should have saved that. Just like, thanks for watching.
No.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Okay. So a young girl wants to get into the MMA world, and she's nervous about it. What kind of advice would you have for her? Well, not just MMA, just martial arts.
Yeah, if she's trying to get into MMA, I would say don't. No, I'm just kidding.
So to just martial arts, whether it's kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, regular boxing, whatever.
I would say find the right gym. Vet your gym. Make sure they're not throwing people in. Like, it's hard as a new person. You don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
Man, it's tough. It's really tough, because even when people, like, occasionally people will reach out to me like, oh, I want to start at a gym, and I'm just like, yeah, you're never going to go to a gym. Like, you're never going to go. But I try to, like, be supportive and be like, this is what to look for, this is what to make sure of. I think reaching out to someone that you know who is at a higher level, it's kind of hard if you don't know anyone in the sport, but maybe just go to a gym and don't be so trusting, especially as a girl, of everyone. Be very cautious. Trust, but verify. Let the trust build. I would say, because I kind of like, when I was younger, and even now still, I am still very naive, and like, everyone's my friend. Everyone who wants to talk to me at the gym is my best friend. Like, everyone loves me. I love everyone. Everything's fine. That's not the case. There are people there that want to hurt you, you know? Maybe not even want to hurt you, but people there that will hurt you. So I would be like, if it was a young girl who wanted to join the gym, I'd be like, not TMT, I'd be like, just go, you're gonna love it. But if it's like, she's like, oh, I'm Googling gyms, I'd be like, be selective. Make sure that they have girls there, but make sure that the girls speak well of each other. Make sure that the guys speak well of the girls. Make sure that the coach doesn't date multiple girls on the team or something like that. Make sure that the teammates don't date other girls on the team. Like, just make sure of these things, because where you start can have a huge impact on who you become as a fighter if you're interested in following it through. If you're just interested in doing a little workout, it can also have a huge impact. I because there would be girls that would come to the gym, and then someone that works at the gym would start dating them. I'm like, why do you gotta scare them away? Now that you broke up, they're never gonna come back, But it could be worse, because it could be there are sexual abuse scandals that happen in certain gyms, and it's really bad. So I would just say be super cautious in general. Not everyone's your friend, stuff like that. So that's what I would tell a girl who just wanted to start Muay Thai or martial arts.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good advice, because the number one question I get when I talk to people who don't train is, how do I find a gym? And there's a lot of fear, because there's a lot of McDojos out there where they're just, like you said, they're just trying to make money, toss you into a fight, and then, try to get that prestige of, hey, my gym has 27 pro fighters. Yeah, but every one of them got knocked out in the first round.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's also like that, but there's also gyms who I think have careless coaches, where they are not necessarily interested in building a strong program. They just want, well, first of all, they need numbers to boost their sales, and they need memberships. But besides that, they also sort of just they'll just show up once a week, train their fighter, and then get the heck out. And it's as a coach, as an owner of this gym, you should be dually super invested in the way the team performs and the way you train your fighters. I was at a gym once. It was a gym I used to train at, and one of the head coaches there, the head coach's second head in command, she's teaching a class, and she's like, all right, well, she's in the bathroom, she comes out, the class is still going on. She's like, all right, well, I'm about to head out, but if any of you need any help with anything, let me know. I'm like, everyone in this room sucks and needs help. Every single one of them. It was so bad to the point I'm like, hey, can I tell that guy that he needs to work on this? She's like, yeah, well, he's just here for a workout. And I'm just like, that doesn't matter. He's here to learn Muay Thai, and you're failing him.
You're doing him a huge disservice.
I can't believe you're taking his money. He could be doing this in the park with some rando, just what are you doing? Everyone in this room needs help. Everyone in this room doesn't know that they need to ask a question, because they just don't know any better, but you know that this is shit. You should know that this is shit. So a lot of gyms are like that. It's if you're not fully okay, I get it. If you're a business owner, be a business owner. At the TMT, we have a business owner separate. But if you're a coach, the head coach, you need to be and even a coach at a lower level, if you're not personally invested in seeing these people grow as a fighter, you shouldn't be a coach. Or seeing them grow as a martial artist, you shouldn't be a coach. Some of the best coaches I've met, they don't train fighters, but they make sure your form is good. They want you to grow as a person and a fighter, or an artist as well, Yeah. So there are a lot of, I didn't know it was called a McDojo, but yeah, a lot of Muay Thai McDojos too. Oh, that just irks me. I could talk for hours about that. Gross.
Even Joey screams from across the room, Rex, fix your foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good it's good, because if I walked into a gym and a coach didn't have something to say about my, a head coach that I'm going to for advice didn't have something to say about me, I'd be like, this is not the gym that I need to be at. I know I have a lot to work on, at any time. And so.
Yeah, every one of us do.
Yeah, of course.
No matter what level you are.
There's no perfection, and it helps to have a critical voice who, I've had coaches who were, well, I wouldn't even call him my coach, because I only worked with him for 2 weeks because of this reason. Mm-hmm. Sorry to open another can of worms on time, but
it's fine.
I'll try to go fast. So I sparred, and we had been working, and so I sparred, and he watched part of the sparring. He was talking to other people most of the sparring, and when the round would end and I would come back to the corner, he'd be like, well, you fucking suck. Don't tell her. Someone would be like, oh, you're doing good. You just need to do this, and you're doing this. Just keep calm. No, don't tell her she's fucking good. She sucks. She's fucking horrible. What is she fucking doing? She just sucks. And I'm like, do you have any advice for me? Anything I should be doing? And he's just like, no, we already talked about it all in training. You just suck. You're just doing shit in there. And I'm just like, all right, we're not going to work together anymore. This is bizarre.
Yeah, no, that's...
So there's
get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, there's a medium. Don't tell me all the time that I'm the best fighter you've ever met. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear critical feedback. You need to put your hands up. You need to step out. You need to step to the left. But don't tell me that I fucking suck either all the time. So it's also, if you're looking for a gym and they keep telling you you're good,
that's a red flag.
It's a red flag. It's an orange flag. Because you could be good. You could be really good. But if they're only telling you you're good all the time, I'll be out of there so fast.
Yes.
Not so fast that I'd be like, hey, could you give me some feedback?
Mm-hmm.
No, I know I can improve on some stuff. Yeah. That's with all things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So 2 more questions.
Okay. 2 more questions?
Yes.
Okay, what are they?
All right. What kind of impact would you like to have in the world?
You know, I don't know, cause I think I want to say like something super philosophical, but I don't know. I guess I live a really self-centered life, in that I mean, I do volunteer some of my time, definitely not enough, but I feel like I could have a better impact on others. I mean, I try to be nice and like friendly to others and be like supportive, but that's not even on the world. That's just in my like little corner. But if like I were like, I don't know, that's kind of weird to say. I guess I'm not too concerned. Like sometimes I'll think like, oh, well, maybe I just shouldn't have children because I know that's going to have an impact on the environment. Maybe I should just like move to an island and just like, you know, live a very primitive lifestyle. Not super primitive, but like, you know, a 1900s lifestyle, just to like, you know, help and do my part. And then it's like, well, if no one else is doing that, it's not really a big deal. But I'm like, well, if I make the choice, then someone else can make the choice and it could be a big deal. So that's like I would like to have a better impact on like the earth, but it's kind of hard to make changes, I think. And that's like a drastic change. I don't know where I get that idea. It's just like, if I don't move to an island and live primitively, then none of it's worth it. But you know, making like little changes. As far as like with people, I don't really have a plan. I just try to be nice to the people I know and be supportive of others, and that's all.
That's still a good impact.
I hope so.
Yeah, because when you're nice to people, you know, usually niceness pays forward, and then other people are nice to other people.
Yeah, I mean, I hope after people talk to me, they feel like nice and happy and uplifted. I don't know. I also, because there was a time when I like had a lot of money. Well, I mean, I just came into a lot of money, and I was like, well, I wanted to start publishing for marginalized and like what's the word, like minority people who maybe don't have an in with like an agent or a publisher, so I could like publish their books, and then, you know, they could get their voice out there and heard and like market their books. But then, you know, I got busy with the job and stuff like that. But besides that, I don't know. I would like to make an impact. I feel like you're really concerned with like at this point, it's like really, I'm like concerned with so many other things that like maybe once I'm like I hope I can retire early. I think I will retire early. When I do, I'll probably start thinking again, like what can I do to like give back, you know? But I like to volunteer with kids like ages or grades 6 through 12, like keep them in school and stuff like that, and mentorship. I like that a lot. I think that's a great use of my time. But that's all I have right now.
That was really cool. That started from I have no idea to I'm helping kids.
Yeah, I work with kids.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so I'm a private tutor, but besides that, so while I'm tutoring, I try to like give them like, you know, I try not to be that person that's like, well, I'm older and let me give you life advice, because I hated that when I was a kid. But I try to like do it in such a way that it's like, well, I try to do this, and like, well, maybe we can try this, you know. And then when I'm mentoring, that's like not paid. I'm just like, I just try to be a friend, you know, like a friend that like, because these are kids that probably don't see a lot of people going to college and stuff like that, and like, you know, becoming professionals. And it's just like, well, I did it, and you know, it's my experience, and how are you doing today, you know? What did your friend say to you in class today, you know, stuff like that. So, or have you thought about, you know, your like dreams and goals, like what do you want to do? So stuff like that.
That's a really good impact.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I try.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. You too.
Awesome. Well, I wish you a lot of luck on your move in your future. Hope your wedding's not too expensive.
Am I what?
Hope your wedding.
God.
Yes.
Every time I look at it, it's like a pain. Well, now I'm used to it, but weddings.
Awesome. But
yeah.
But I think you got a bright future ahead of you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. High five.
Okay, good.